I just realized I have the exact number of subscribers and the videos uploaded until this video was made. So do me a favor, I need one more person to subscribe to this channel to equal it out. The balance must be restored. Anyway, welcome back to Life Study Library. This is your host, Lye Yosh. This will be the last video talking about child growth and parenting. At least it'll be the last video in this streak. I'll talk about a different subject in the video after this. But anyways, if I remember correctly, in the last video, I talked about how children who are completely honest will be remarked harshly by their parents and might end up living a miserable life, despite being taught about the righteousness of honesty by none other than their parents. I've talked about this in the previous video, so if you're interested, please check it out. The link to it is in my description section, so yeah, go for it. But to spoil the video a little, I will say that the occurrence explained in that video is an indirect phenomenon. So today's topic about bad parenting will be a more direct one, meaning that what you as a parent are doing to your kids will directly harm them and their later vital years of life. So if you notice that you're doing this to your kid, please at once stop that activity. Or if you don't have a child yet, or are just curious about what could be the red flag behavior that you can do to harm them, don't miss out on watching this video to the end, because the fact that you reach this video in this channel means it's your lucky day and you don't want to miss out on that. So yeah, anyways, welcome to Life Study Library. I am your host, Lye Yosh. In the channel, I'm going to be talking about these interesting scientific and psychological information, but that might greatly help you in life by implementing evidence from scientific studies. So if this pumps up your science nerd brain, then please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and enjoy the ride. Alright, let's go. So the main thing that I want to say in this video is that the probably number one harmful activity that you as a parent can do to your child, which will ruin their lives in various ways, according to a study done at the Florida Atlantic University. That behavior is taunting or being derisive to your children. This includes, but is not limited to, seeing when your kid, for example, didn't do so well in school or failed at something, and the parent goes, haha, you suck at this. This is what I mean when I say taunting your kids. And I'm sure many of y'all parents would think, oh my god, why would anyone do that to their precious children? I have never done that to my son or daughter. Chances are you probably have done it at some point, but most likely in a joking manner. Like, to you, it was just a joke and should have been taken lightly. But to the child, it caused such detrimental damage to their cognitive self and their overall life. And this is a common and a tragic theme among all types of bullying, but almost all bullies are unconscious of their mean behavior, at least most of the time, and are simply unaware that what seemed like a friendly joke to them is actually a taunting remark or behavior in the perspective of the bullied. I too was bullied when I was little, and that was a bad memory for sure, but the reason why I don't go back to that memory and be angry or sad or show any kind of emotion is because it's a thing of a past, and I don't care enough to remind myself that the event happened and fruitlessly try to figure out ways to solve it all the years later. So in simple terms, I'm pretty much over it. But yeah, in this particular video, we'll look at the potential damage that the bullies might be getting. And oh boy, talk about emotional damage. So the main claim is that children, when they experience hostility, including but not limited to getting ridiculed or getting made fun of, when they experience these kind of bullying behavior from their parents, their emotional function gets damaged and increases the chance of their poor souls becoming bullies themselves. So not only bullying influences people by making them victims, but it can also be a pathway to give birth to more bullies, because it also makes the victims possible future bullies. Today's study was done in 2019, and if you don't believe my words, you can read the article talking about it in the Journal of Youth and Adolescence. I'll put the link to the description, so check it out for yourself if you don't trust my words. The study collected 1,409 adolescent children, their age ranging from 13 to 15 years old. So this consisted of basically 7th to 9th graders. Samples in this age range were picked obviously because children experience the greatest amount of personality development during this age, thus it makes them the most sensitive to outside influence. What you experience during this age, especially regarding human connection and interaction, makes up the most important and the greatest amount of personality building that you'll probably keep it for the rest of your lives. In simple terms, regarding personality, this age range is the most important, and if kids mess up during this time, the negative effects will follow them for a long time. Sorry, I kind of had to explain that in great detail, but I wasn't sure if I did a good enough job. Anyways, the study found out that kids who become bullies later on in their lives, or express these antisocial behaviors later on, a great majority of them reported to have parents who were regularly derisive towards them, meaning that these kids who become bullies, these kids themselves were regularly mocked, insulted, laughed at by their parents. I know, it really is an awful finding. But then some people might think that the parents, while they did act too harshly in these cases, are actually teaching the kids. The kids are being disciplined by their parents. Some might think like this. But the study points out that these kind of hostile behaviors were shown by parents to their children regardless of the child's misbehavings. It's one thing to scold your child where you have the possibility to maybe go too far, but the sample children who later on became bullies, they grew up with parents who get unnecessarily mad at them when they did nothing wrong. That is messed up. These children who learns from their parents like all the kids out there who normally does, gets their emotional regulation messed up and learns to think that this behavior is natural and acceptable, and acquires these behaviors as they grow and end up becoming hostile towards others and become bullies. All in the while often will not develop the ability to control these emotions, anger in particular. Everything makes sense so far? So the inability to regulate emotions has super dangerous effects if not learned, because it messes up your mental health, as adolescence is the time of your life to learn about your emotions and learn how to live with them. And if kids trip up during this stage, hostility towards others will only grow, which leads to them expressing hostile behavior, making bullying the only way for them to release that negative emotional and mental stress. If you think about it, normally when you're angry, you would know a few ways to release that stressful emotions without harming others, including but not limited to exercising, meditating, stuff like these peaceful methods. And of course, you can totally learn this as a skill later on in your life, even if your anger management ability is not fully developed during your adolescence. So, not being able to acquire these anger management abilities is not the end of the world, for sure, but will obviously make your life way harder than it should have. Oh, yeah, by the way, another part of the study that was interesting to me was that it points out that these kids who became bullies because of experiencing bullying behavior by their parents, these kids can also become further victims of further bullying. What I mean is that not only they can become bullies themselves, but they can also become victims of bullying. The study found out that these kids who have derisive parents who taunt or tease them, they become bullies themselves at social areas like school, but they also experience bullying from other kids or adults in the environment like at their school. The researchers have noted that these sort of unnatural or harmful experience the kids face by their parents at home, this permeates their school life, making them unable to sort of emotionally relate with the other kids. This means that as a person who lives in a society, you would have a pretty solid idea of what kind of emotion someone is experiencing. If they're laughing, there's a pretty good chance that that person is happy. And if they're crying, most likely they're sad. Of course, there are tricksters like sarcastic laughs and behaviors that people make which don't match up with this typical definition, but these experiences kids get at school with other kids are an extremely important developmental milestone in a child's brain. And if these kids cannot develop this important social communication skill, pretty much the only alternative environment for it to develop is at home. But if the parents aren't helping by teaching their kids the appropriate emotion to make at each situation, the kids are going to be stuck in their emotional development. And this leads to not being able to relate with the emotion of others, which leads to the disability to communicate. And then the kids will take one of two paths: either become a bully because they don't understand emotions, or be bullied because they don't understand emotions. So when you think it like that, developing various emotions and making sure the kid knows which one is appropriate at which time and place. Developing this skill is super important to your child's growth. So if you're a parent, or simply as an adult honestly, you might want to be careful when you're ribbing a child. That child might not take it the right way, and you might unintentionally ruin a child's life. Sounds terrible, right? If you think so, maybe you want to try jokes that make everyone laugh, or you can try self-deprecating humor. Though I can't really recommend this either, because making fun of yourself is also a slippery slope. And when people do this too often, or in an incorrect or inappropriate manner, they'll start to think that what they're saying is true, and then they lose confidence in themselves. Ever talked with a person who always makes fun of themselves, trying to be funny but is actually making the scene really awkward? Yeah, I bet you don't want to be that person. However, science also suggests that self-deprecating humor might actually be an indicator of your intelligence. My next video, or it might not be the very next, but the video that'll come up sometime in the future, I will be talking about how self-deprecating humor, while it might be seen as a sign of unconfidence from other people's perspective, might be the sign that you are actually smart. Sounds interesting, right? Well, if you want to listen to me talking about this topic, please subscribe to Life Study Library and turn on the notification on so that you can be informed about this upcoming video and many more that will be coming up in the future. There are also many videos already posted in this channel that talks about these interesting and helpful science and psychology that can help you make your life better. So if you're interested, go ahead and watch any of them. I know there are quite a lot of videos, so to make your life easier, I'll give you some recommended videos that have topics related to this one. You can watch after finishing this video. And today I recommend you go watch for your children. You should watch the video titled, "Is Public School Worth It?" Yeah, a pretty daring title, isn't it? I also have some book recommendations listed in my description section, so if you're curious, go check that out too. And that is it from me. I'm gonna take off. I hope you enjoyed this video. You've been watching Life Study Library, hosted by me, Lye Yosh. I'll see you in another video. Peace.